All right, Dirty Sports episode 810. We are live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Praino.
Hello, Andy.
Good afternoon, Joseph.
How's everything in Cincinnati?
It's good, man. Just living that the Midwest dream. We got a nice little day of weather. I finally, after 4 weeks out, I finally got a run in today.
Wow! Congratulations. So your groinal area is in running shape once again.
Dude, get this.
I mean, what a way to start the show.
Get this. Yeah. So I saw a dermatologist on Friday, which if you need to see a dermatologist, good luck.
I was really just hoping you'd be like, yep, it's all good. It's in running shape. No. Let's go into the details.
First of all, dermatologists are booked up literally months.
Andy's groinal area is the Vikings QB room. Title of the episode.
There it is. You got it.
Andy's groinal area is the 2021-2022 Lakers.
Pretty much.
It is a debacle down there.
I didn't go into full detail. I don't remember what I said. All I know is the last few weeks I've had multiple bacterial infections, which I thought was a fungal infection as well. Just disgusting things. My friends thought I was over exaggerating, for the record, my college buddies in a group text. And I said, oh, you guys think I'm over exaggerating? I sent them pictures of my scrotum and my penis just to show how nasty
Andy,
it was.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I love that your groinal area is like a college student's foot. Like just funguses.
Get this. This is what I learned. The dermatologist said, you've been going through all this stuff. You never had a fungal infection once.
What's that even mean?
It means I thought I had jock itch. I had applied this cream, which 3 separate times, which each time triggered a severe allergic reaction down there. And she's looking at my junk. She's looking at my legs. And she's like, dude, you never, ever had a fungal infection. Because
it was all just allergies.
Yes. And it makes sense with the medication I've been taking. Everything had cleared up with a steroid pill called prednisone. And she's like, you never used cream. And like, we went through my whole timeline of all these multiple outbreaks that I had. And she's like, dude, you were a little raw down there from running. You put the cream on and shit went haywire. And then it was healing. And then you'd put the cream on again because it was itchy, because it was flaky, because it was dry. And so. And in 3 weeks, I saw 6 different doctors, including a urologist twice, multiple physicians. It finally came to the dermatologist. Can't wait for these bills, by the way, to be like, yo, dude, I'm going to get you on more prednisone for the next 12 days to just make you get officially better. But you can run, you can engage in sexual activity, you can be back. So like Michael Jordan, I'm back, baby. I was running in 45 today, just like MJ. It's a good feeling, Joe Praino.
Welcome back, buddy.
Feels good. Little out of shape, 4 weeks down, but feel good. Feel really good. And, I feel better than how the Vikings feel moving forward, Kirk Cousins. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do they feel good? I missed a lot of sports stories. I wasn't on Twitter much. I didn't get to read anything or really watch much while I was in San Luis Obispo for the comedy festival this weekend. So you're in charge of the rundown today, as always. And
I was like, when am I not?
But sometimes I'll throw in something, but like I didn't, basically since our last episode, I've been off the grid, but I can't wait to react to all the things that you deem worthy of our show today. And by the way, shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Dirtballs who made it out to a couple of the slow comedy fest shows. It was nice to have support, and it was a fun weekend.
Good, good. That's a great area. Did you get to go outside at all? Or were you busy with the comedy festival the whole
I
time?
did get I did get to go outside a little bit, played a little golf. That one comedian who was not in the festival but was a local comic liked a golf joke I did, and then was like, "Hey, dude, I work at the restaurant at a golf course called Dairy Creek, and you guys should come up and play tomorrow, and I'll get you on the course free." So shout out to John for getting me on the course. It was amazing. I mean, you've been up in that area,
I
and
love that area. Beautiful area.
a lot of times it's like kind of brown and dry. Obviously, that area of California, can get dry. But with the rain that we had, it was so green and so lush. It was like I felt like I was golfing in Ireland. It
Nice.
was glorious, and a lot of walking around town, and just honestly, one of the best parts of the weekend was just driving up and driving back.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Like the back-to-back weekends of Chicago, 12 degrees in Chicago, and then LA through Santa Barbara to San Luis Obispo. It's like, bro, I fucking raise my taxes. I don't even give a shit.
I would put that drive from LA to San Luis Obispo. That's like a top tier drive as far as scenic beauty, the coastline, the ocean, the mountains. It's up there. Like I don't really know what, to be honest, what could really match that drive. What is it, about 4.5?
Yeah, not even. Yeah, it was like 3.5 today.
Yeah, that that is a just pristine.
I mean, you've kept going up the PCH past there, or not, like you've gone all the way up the PCH. Like you got Big Sur and stuff like that.
You know what? I actually never did. Obviously, I've been to San Francisco and the Bay Area a bunch, but I've never done straight through the PCH route.
So that will I completely agree with you. The LA to San Luis Obispo is a great, incredible drive. You keep going up the PCH up there, up to Big Sur. That's a whole other experience too, with like rocky cliff sides and stuff.
I love it. Yeah, that's again, that California coastline is just,
that's something everybody should do at some point.
Honestly, I agree.
Drive Los Angeles to Monterey or Carmel or San Francisco, but take the one. It's like, just do it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, it's pristine is how I describe it. So obviously we're in that kind of low area of sports stuff, but there is stuff that I know we should discuss that we would like on our show. The first thing is, it is coming out about the problems Zimmer had, no surprise here, with Kirk Cousins. And it's coming out that he was open about it. So they obviously have a whole thing they have to do going forward because they have a new coach. But the thing that was written in the article, which was just published today in The Athletic, said Zimmer complained openly in coaching meetings about Cousins, and some of Zimmer's top lieutenants echoed the sentiment. Zimmer didn't feel the quarterback made enough, in quotes, winning plays, and that he didn't take the necessary shots to help lead the Vikings to victory. And he also did not elevate his teammates. So
I'm just like, duh. Like, thanks, Captain Obvious. What's crazy about this story at this point is that there's any other side to it. Like, everybody with a brain who knows football for real. I understand a lot of you kids have never stepped foot on a football field. A lot of people live solely in quarterback rating and statistics. But if you actually know the game of football, Kirk Cousins is mediocre at best, truly. And Zimmer knew that because he is a professional football coach who's probably lived, ate and slept football his entire life.
Well, it's funny you say that. Like let's pull it up. Zimmer's 65 years old. He started in the NFL. We started coaching in 1979. He started in the NFL which of course I knew because he's Dion's guy. He started in the NFL in '94 as the Cowboys defensive coordinator, worked his way up to DC for 6 years in Dallas, right? Then went to Atlanta, then Cincinnati, then obviously the Vikings head coach. So like you're talking about a guy who has been in the NFL for 30 years.
And again, the crazy part of this story is the small version and the big version. The small version, the crazy part of the story is that any human being on earth exists that watches or enjoys football and doesn't know that Kirk Cousins has never done anything exceptional for 1 second in the NFL. And the Redskins knew it. That's why they just kept giving him the franchise tag and not extending him. The Vikings made a terrible, terrible mistake and are paying for it now. But the big part of the story is that one of those brain dead fucking idiots runs the team. How did you choose Cousins over Zimmer?
Well, the GM was fired as well with Zimmer.
I understand, but like, so why were the GM like? First of all, fire the GM for bringing in Kirk Cousins. The GM and Cousins should go.
And I guess he tried to make it work. And it said even throughout this year, Zimmer started conducting weekly meetings with Kirk Cousins for the first time in their 4 years together. Like towards the end, like we got to try to make this work. But it became clear that they couldn't together. And that obviously the relationship didn't work out. And we see they fire the coach, they fire the GM.
But they still got Kirk Cousins. So good luck with your mediocre, like absolutely like at best mediocre season. Because like, here's the thing about Kirk Cousins. Mediocre, middle of the pack, average, right? But Kirk Cousins also is, when you consider his value, like his cost, Kirk Cousins is the single last quarterback I would want to as my quarterback. He would be the last guy.
Yeah. So the problem is, it's funny you bring that up because that is the cap situation, the money financial situation here is a debacle. So he has 1 year remaining on a deal, which includes a $45 million cap hit this season. And then it's basically saying, like, he's got this money deal where they're just in a shitty spot right now, the Vikings, because
they're in a shitty spot because of Kirk Cousins.
Correct.
They have to fire their coach, had to fire their GM. They don't make the fucking playoffs. They're mediocre, and they have cap problems. Every single one of those things is Kirk Cousins' fault. It's unbelievable. He's the last football player on earth I'd want on my team. I have OJ, Antonio Brown, Aaron Hernandez, and Ben Roethlisberger in my locker room before I had Kirk Cousins in there. At least those guys were good.
Yeah. Well, it begs the question, if you're a Vikings fan, like if you're a Vikings fan, do you want another 8-9, 9-8, 10-7 season? I would argue no. You want to just like tank.
Fuck Vikings fans.
A lot of them still defend.
I know. That's why. Fuck you guys. Enjoy Kirk Cousins.
Well, it's funny because I even just kind of briefly perusing through the comment section under this story, a lot of them are like, classic Zimmer, not taking any blame, blaming the QB. Like, you're the coach, make him better. It's like, well,
classic Zimmer turning Case Keenum into an NFC championship game starting quarterback and then not being able to do anything with Kirk Cousins after the team gives him $45 million. Kirk Cousins is the last football player I'd want on my team. How long have I been saying this, Andy?
Yeah. You've been anti-Cousins forever.
Because he's trash, dude. He is perfectly mediocre, and yet even going back to the Redskins, they're franchise tagging him so that he's a top 5 paid quarterback at his position.
But yeah, the problem is for his level, it's the level he plays at, or quote unquote winning playoff games, and then also with what he's being paid. Like those two are not compatible. So
right.
if he was paid a lot less, I think, you could maybe somehow see what they could do with that roster and make improvements in other areas. But the problem is
like when they played in the NFC Championship game with Case Keenum.
Correct. He's just eating too much of the salary. And again, that's why they're hamstrung with a lot of these. Look, Zimmer's not completely invincible. They lost a lot of close games. You got to put a lot of that in the coach. They lost a lot of tough games last year. And at some point, the onus, I would argue, has to be on the coach when you consistently lose tough games. I'm a Zimmer guy. I always liked him in Cincinnati. I thought he was a great defensive coordinator. And I've said this all along. I thought he should have been the head coach instead of Marvin Lewis, circa after they lost to the Chargers in 2014 in the playoffs. I think that the direction of that franchise would have been even better, but they obviously didn't. They let him go.
If you want to fire Mike Zimmer, if you're the Vikings ownership and you want to fire Mike Zimmer, fine, fire him. You want to fire the GM? Fine, fire him. But you better send Kirk Cousins out with the trash too.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is for you to fire both of those guys and keep Kirk Cousins, I can't think of a single thing that a franchise could do that makes me say their ownership is clueless about the game of football. And honestly, how do you have scouts, assistant GMs, whoever working in your building? How is there not one Joe Praino there who's like, guys, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't think of a group of people on planet Earth that I despise more than Kirk Cousins defenders in all these comments and sections. It's ludicrous. Do you hate winning?
Yeah, again, I don't like, my thing on Cousins is it's just he's paid too much for what he's going to eventually bring to the table as far as success for your team.
But Andy, it's not that he's paid too much. It's that he's paid so egregiously too much. He's Andy Dalton, dude. Andy Dalton's out there getting $5 million backup jobs. Kirk Cousins is getting paid 9 times what Andy Dalton gets paid.
I think he's better than Dalton.
I don't.
You don't.
No.
You don't? I mean, Andy Dalton had some good seasons when he was surrounded by a lot of talent.
So did Kirk Cousins, huh?
Yeah, I think Cousins, but his Cousins statistically is probably better.
Great, but if he's not even attempting to do anything but be like cool, I don't care what your quarterback rating is, dude. In fact, I think Kirk Cousins is the embodiment of quarterback rating being the trashiest statistic of all time. Kirk Cousins' career quarterback rating is higher than Joe Montana's. Take quarterback rating and flush it down the fucking toilet. Joe Montana shits sketchers that are better quarterbacks than Kirk Cousins.
So what would you do if you were the Vikings? Let's say you're the owner. So I'm just going to go over it real quickly. So let's just look. Let's go back to that Keenum year. We'll start there. So they go 13-3. They lose in the conference championship. I mean, they had a good team, 13-3. The next year when Cousins comes, they go 8-7-1. Don't make the playoffs.
Surprise.
2019, they go
surprise. Mediocrity's here.
Next year in 2019, they go 10-6. They do win a playoff game in New Orleans, his lone playoff win. The last 2 years, 7-9, 8-9. So what do? They obviously look, they have a good running back, a really, really good receiver. Like they have 2 good receivers. You got Thielen, you got Jefferson, you got Cook. You got like 3 really key pieces right there offensively. Like you just go in full rebuild mode.
Why do you have to go in full rebuild mode? Why don't you, for $45 million, why don't you take $5 million of the $45 million and have somebody murder Kirk Cousins? Now you don't have to rebuild at all. I just solved your problem. Why don't you be a man if you're ownership, admit you fucked up and cut the dude?
I don't know how that would work financially. for a hit. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely time to move on. And I bet they obviously do. This is one more year on his contract.
They're talking about renegotiating and extending.
Interesting.
Because I don't know, like outside in the 10-degree Minnesota wind chill, just brain fucking frozen salt. Like, I have no explanation for this.
Well, and now's the time. If you look, right, we have a giant question mark with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. The Bears are debacle. You obviously have a young quarterback, a new head coach. The Lions, come on, they're the Lions. So like now is the time where the Vikings legitimately could be a force in that division in the future if they make the right moves. I don't know.
And what is the very single most important move for your football team? Who's your quarterback?
Yeah.
So all the right moves right now, they're making all the wrong moves, which is it doesn't matter what you're doing if Kirk Cousins is your quarterback. And I want to say if you're a Kirk Cousins defender, call the show. But I also want to say if you're a Kirk Cousins defender, just throw yourself off a bridge. So I don't really know where I'm at with them at this point.
Call the show.
Yeah, call the show.
310-359-8365.
And then we'll hear you out and then jump off a bridge.
Here's the thing.
It's insane.
And I know we have a lot of Vikings fans who listen to the show.
I know.
Really do. We got Vikings fans from Minnesota. We have Vikings fans from the Dakotas. Like we have a lot of Vikings fans who listen to the show. And I know probably someone are going to say, what's the alternative? The
alternative is it's like playing Let's Make a Deal. You remember the show Let's Make a Deal?
It's still on right now with
by Wayne Brady or something like that.
Yeah, Wayne Brady.
So they do the thing where like they show you what's behind one of the doors and then they ask you if you want something that's behind another door that you can't see. But a lot of times it's like, do you want $5,000 cash or do you want what's behind the door? And it could be a car or it could be like a donkey, right?
Yeah.
But in the Vikings situation, they're playing Let's Make a Deal and they have a bucket full of horse shit. And they're like, do you want the bucket full of horse shit or do you want unknown what's behind door number 2? We're not talking about $5,000 cash or maybe a car. We're talking you are being presented with the bucket of shit. Just take what's behind door number 2. Do you really want a bucket of shit? I'm taking what's behind door number 2. And they're like, it's a bigger bucket of shit. Oh, well, I took a chance that it wasn't a bucket of shit because I really don't want to carry a bucket of shit home from this television studio.
You know, here's the thing. I obviously, you know, and we'll go to stats a lot in this show, and stats are important for sports and analytics, and it's a real thing. But you know what else is a real thing is the eye test and the it factor and the moxie and all those things that quarterbacks have. That's why, to me, a guy like Joe Burrow, because if you look at Joe Burrow, like his playoff numbers weren't anything insane. They were good. They were like pedestrian for him. But my point is, like,
Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times in a playoff game and won. Kirk Cousins, if he gets sacked twice in the first quarter of a football game, you are losing that football game.
Yeah.
The meltdown has begun.
Sure.
He will now be bad.
My point is, I look at these young guys, like they have that. Joe Burrow has that. I would say Josh Allen has that. I would even say Justin Herbert has that. They have this calm, cool composure, this bravado, almost like a cockiness somewhat. Kirk Cousins, and I know only so many quarterbacks can have, but he just doesn't have that.
Hence, Mike Zimmer saying he also doesn't make his teammates better. He's not a leader. He's not inspiring guys to play better. Kirk Cousins is a mediocre bucket of shit. And I'm sick of it, dude. Like,
we've been doing this for years on our show.
How many times have I raged on Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. I would say that's been a huge theme.
Yeah. I mean, but we go back to all the way Maddie calling Kirk Cousins is pretty good. I don't know what you're talking about.
But to Maddie's credit, he gave up on that. Like,
and so should the Vikings, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
last season, not this past season, but the season before, everybody's like, his line sucks. His line sucks. His line sucks. I did it. Went and looked at the snap to pass numbers. He was the only guy over 3 seconds on average in the whole league. His offensive line is shit. His offensive line is shit. Maybe get rid of the ball, dude. Joe Burrow's line is shit. He went to the fucking Super Bowl. The idea that guy's out there making $45 million going to super churches, talking about fucking anti-vax shit, talking about fucking our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You like that? All the like Kirk Cousins, like honestly, I fuck it, extend him. Vikings fans who are defending him at this point, I hope you have him forever. I hope he's the eternal quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Hope he plays till he's 70.
Well, in other NFL news, they announced some of the overseas games. The country of Germany is getting a game this year. The Bucks will play in Munich for the NFL's first regular season game.
Provided Germany's still a thing when the NFL season starts.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
We'll be playing in Munich. And then this was controversial. A lot of people were unhappy. I saw on Twitter about this. The Packers are going to go to London. Now, the Packers are officially the last team to play over there since they started doing London games in 2007. And people were just like, dude, the Packers are going to lose a home game, which I understand. But I guess
no, every other team has played in London.
Every other team has played in London since 2007.
Wow.
But Green Bay. So they're saying, hey, man, it's got to be your turn. It's only fair. And then, of course, the Jags will be back there playing the Saints. And the Cardinals will go back to, I don't know if they played there before, but the Cardinals will be in Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, which I love. I love NFL games in Mexico City. Like, to me, I like that. But,
do we know who the Cardinals are playing in Mexico City?
It does not say.
But we know the Jags and Saints are playing?
Yes, we do.
It's weird. I mean, depending on who the Cardinals are playing, like that'd be a fun game to try to attend.
I mean, you gotta do it. All right. The last time there was a game in 2019, I think it was the Raiders.
And they were supposed that remember the Chiefs Rams game we went to was supposed to be in Mexico City.
That's right. But Shakira ruined that field.
Yeah. And then we got to see the greatest football game of all time.
That's the best football game I've ever seen. You got a pretzel. You missed a touchdown. A fucking pretzel. We didn't leave. I said, I'm not leaving my seat the entire game. You went to get a pretzel and came back like, what happened? And that was, I'll never.
I think I missed 2 touchdowns getting a pretzel.
I think you did. And one of them was defensive. You're like, 2. And I'm like, yeah, one of them was on defense.
Yeah. I think somebody scored and then like there was a kickoff and then like a strip sack return like on the ensuing play. And I was like, I don't understand. There's 16 points scored while I was gone. You're like, yeah, also there's a safety.
I'm like, and also OJ killed somebody. Like this is a game you do not want to miss.
Kanye and Drake performed on one side of the field while 14 points were scored on the other side.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That's the best game I've ever seen in person. I think it was like 55-52, something like that.
And we remember that Penn State SC game we saw too. It was like bananas, but like that Chiefs Rams game was sick.
Man. Yeah. You know, I know the new stadium's nice, but I was telling somebody this other day, I really enjoyed going to games at the Coliseum. I know it was old. I know it was a dump, but I liked that you just hop on the train in Santa Monica and then it pulled right in front of the Coliseum. Just the convenience of the public transportation. I liked that.
The convenience of the public transport, and this happens in many places, but it was like when you go a second time or a third time, you're always like, oh, it's so easy to take the train. You always forget like taking the train on the way out. It's like a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially when I've just slammed 4 Mexican hot dogs or whatever I'd always do with the people outside of the stadium. And then the bubble gut is just, just ratcheting up. I don't know, man. These games are interesting when they do them overseas because like the NFL is really just I know their end game is just the popularity, and it seems to be working.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising in a lot of these countries. So I don't know. But that's your NFL news today. Looks like we're here in the middle of these talks. I'm trying to update everything, FYI, because obviously the baseball has today until the strike as far as it affecting the regular season. And it looks like that's going to happen, which is a shame. I'm seeing a tweet from an hour ago. Rob Manfred and officials just walked back to their side of the stadium after meeting for about 40 minutes with the union. And that tweet was about 70 minutes ago.
I hate to my least favorite thing about these baseball negotiations is like all the updates on all the other shit. Like, I don't care. I care. And I think most of the ideas I've heard are stupid in terms of like how we're going to change the playoffs and how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. It's like, can we just pay minor leaguers minimum wage salaries instead of just like randomly being like, oh, you get $1,100 a month stipend? Can we just pay them to come to spring training? Can we just let like young Major League Baseball players have the opportunity to make a contract without like holding them hostage and being like, oh, you'll get paid tomorrow unless we don't bring you up until Thursday, and then we own you for another year? It's just like the idea that we're doing all this, and from the player side is like pay young people a living wage. It's insane. And then we get the DH and the playoff rules and the extra innings rules and whatever. And it's like all this just so you can like basically steal from people.
Yeah. I don't know the effects of this, but everything I read, and I don't know if it's just sensationalized or what, but everybody's saying just how much a strike will just really affect long-term. A sport that you and I have already discussed at length is kind of on its last breath, I would argue, for the younger generation and for attracting new fans. And I don't know if that's correct. I mean, obviously we don't know. You can't tell time, but it obviously can't help.
What I'm left with in the end is just like, listen, if you can't afford a baseball team, then don't have a baseball team. Then get the fuck out. It's not owning a professional sports franchise in America is not for everybody.
No.
If you can't afford it, get the fuck out. I think I made this reference before about when I see the guy with the fucking Porsche convertible with the bike rack on it. It's like, dude, if you can't afford a second car for your bike, you can't afford a Porsche in the first place. So what the fuck are we doing here? If you're crying poor as a baseball owner, if you're treating your fans shitty and your employees shitty, then get the fuck out, dude. There are guys like Mark Cuban been trying to beg their way into baseball forever, and you won't let them in. And instead we just have guys who are saying, how dare you want to get paid to come to spring training?
Yeah.
I don't remember spring training games being free.
Yeah. Well, it's true. If you look at the owners, and that's a problem here in Cincinnati, and it's nothing personal, but the Reds, I just pulled up a link, and I don't know if this is accurate. The Reds have the poorest owner in baseball. I mean, he's only worth, I love saying only, but he's only listed at $400 million for net worth. Like, that's poor for an owner.
Yeah.
Obviously, $400 million is a lot of money. But the problem is, like you're saying, I've seen it, right? Like, you can't miss on big signings, like ever. Like the Reds, at the same time they signed Castellanos, right? a couple years ago, that worked out great. The same time they signed Moustakas, who just was injured. It's like you just whiffed on $58 million. You can't have that happen, or you can't whiff on draft picks, right? Guys who just get hurt. It does suck because you're like, okay. And you're seeing it kind of in Florida and in Miami, right? So obviously there was a problem with the owner and Jeter. Jeter's now out. Jeter, who had a 4% stake and was also the CEO, Jeter's out. So he's no longer calling the shots.
I mean, it's crazy, but it's really crazy to say, but it's almost like taking over a team that was young and talented and getting rid of all the young, talented players was a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I know Derek Jeter's the GOAT. I know he just like his presence alone causes teams to win championships, but it's almost like he should have kept the league MVP. He should have kept last year's like marquee free agent catcher. Like he should have kept like, I mean, you go through their lineup from 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Every one of them is an all-star now.
Yeah.
But, we can't afford to pay them all. Why not?
Sure.
Because you run a shitty operation, and even though you have great players, can't put a winning team together, and therefore no one comes to your ballpark. Well, dude, if no one was going to come to your ballpark, why'd you fucking build a goddamn brand new stadium and do the blah, blah, blah? Like I'm just so sick of baseball owners making terrible decisions and then making terrible other decisions to justified by their last terrible decision.
Sure.
Oh, you're not selling enough jerseys? Maybe don't make them fucking gross.
Well, you know, the whole thing with the Marlins, it's kind of been such an odd experiment since they became a franchise, right? You have the 2 title runs where they built up this team and they stocked it with veterans and paid them a lot of money, and then a complete dismantling of each of those teams, right? So
but they did it right. They did it right in the sense that they had young talent on those teams.
They did.
I mean, you forget Miguel Cabrera was like,
I know,
on this, like, we're talking about team, like having a good farm system, bringing up guys like they had a couple of years ago, and then adding veterans to those teams. And they have the young guys a couple of years ago, and they're like, should we add veterans to this team and be good? No, we should get rid of all the good young talent. Oh, okay, sure. And now I'm a Marlins fan, and I go, so I'm coming to the ballpark to see what now?
Well, you know, and you could even make the argument.
They're like, you're coming to see the janky LSD trip that is behind the outfield wall.
You can make the argument. Baseball in Florida, professional baseball in Florida, outside of spring training, it just hasn't worked. I mean, it's not even really an argument. Look at Tampa Bay. Look at Miami. Like there's just no fan bases there. And a lot of the East Coast transplants obviously are the Yankees fans or the Mets fans or the Red Sox fans, wherever they're coming from to live down there.
And everybody in LA is a Raiders fan, and everybody in LA is a blah, blah, blah. Guess what, dude? I was at a Clippers playoff game last year. It was hype. I went to the Rams playoff game this year. It was hype. You know why? Winning draws in fans.
No, for
there's
sure.
There's going to be a lot of Rams fans in the near future.
I mean, it hasn't with Tampa. You know, they've won a lot the last 15 years overall. That could be an outlier. But
their stadium is a dump.
Sure. Never been, but obviously everyone says that. And obviously Miami, they do have a new stadium. They've just sucked. They've sucked for years. And whatever happened with Jeter, it sounds like this was he had one more year on his contract, but this sounds like it was kind of sudden And he basically saying it wasn't what he had thought it was going to be. And obviously they probably forced his hand with the fire sale.
Did he think he was just going to be able to like look handsome and surround himself with all the best players and therefore win? I don't know why he would have thought that. Perhaps because he did it for 20 years, but like, what the fuck did he think was going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is tough for these guys who have such storied careers when they go into becoming a general manager or talent evaluation or higher upper level front office gigs. I think it's tough, right? Because you're Derek Jeter, like you said, you had the best of the best at your disposal your entire time as a New York Yankee, whether it was in your lineup, whether it was what you were given as far as equipment or anything that the Yankees, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have the best facilities, and suddenly now you're trying to bring someone from the bottom up. And I think it's tough for these guys. And we've seen it and we discussed it, like the best talent of that. Jerry West is kind of like one of the few who's been a great player and a great talent evaluator and a great general manager / president, whatever you want to call it. I mean, look at Michael Jordan's record. It's terrible.
But here's the thing about Derek Jeter is like, I know nothing about Derek Jeter in terms of his talent evaluation or like, honestly, I don't really even know, like, as CEO of the Marlins, like what his day to day looks like. But we know one thing. He didn't, as the CEO, you're in charge of all of the aspects, right? So whether it was, if he's not talent evaluating himself, he didn't hire the right scouts. He didn't keep the right guys. He didn't, let the right guys go. He failed. Yeah. And the bottom line is everybody has basically said, no, all Derek Jeter does is make he is the captain. He will make, if those scouts aren't good, he'll make them good. Yeah. If those players aren't good, he will inspire them to be good by going out every night and getting drunk and having sex with a famous actress. That inspires people to be great. Yeah. Meanwhile, Paul O'Neill has, blisters on his hands from the batting cage that look like Andy Ruther's groinal area. And he's like, oh, Derek Jeter made me great. Oh, Derek Jeter made me great. Jason Giambi is shooting into his neck something that looks like it's out of an Avengers film. Derek Jeter made him great. Yeah, Jeets. Roger Clemens is in a barn sharing steroids with horses and then putting his hand into a garbage can full of grain for hours on a time. Derek Jeter inspired his greatness. Andy Pettitte is eating pasta dishes, spaghetti, meatballs, and HGH. Derek Jeter inspired his greatness. Hideki Matsui is training with samurais from across the globe. They're throwing coconuts at him, and he is chopping them in half. And then he takes that to the baseball field. And Derek Jeter inspired his greatness because one time Derek Jeter couldn't stop running in time and ran face first into a fucking chair.
I would put, like, if you really like, what we should do sometime? We should break down like the marketing, because I'm fascinated by the marketing and the spin of sports, right? And we've discussed the Michael Jordan stuff and the brainwashing and the marketing. I mean, Jeter's up there, top 5 all time.
You know why he's up there? Because one baseball player does nothing for a team. Unless we're talking about like prime Pedro or prime DeGrom or something, like one guy's effect on and even those guys, they only pitch one every 5 days. One man's effect on a baseball team. Proof, like, look at Barry Bonds, look at Ted Williams, look at Mike Trout. A combined 0 rings.
And obviously Jeter had a great career, but again, his defensive.
But it doesn't matter because people say rings, rings, rings. One guy means nothing to a baseball team.
Well,
it's just a cog in the machine.
It's rings. It's the girls. It's the good looks. It's the charm. It's like he had it all. And just the spin.
The spin that he is somehow responsible for 5 rings.
I mean, you should go on Twitter right now. I mean, everybody is just, it's wild. Like he's stepping, it's like just the people are just slurp. Like they're slurp. It's an excuse. Oh, Jeter's trending. Let's slurp Jeter. Let's talk about his career again. And then all these people saying, I know it's a joke, but people are like, he should come back. He should come back. Come out of retirement.
He's not going to get worse defensively. So yeah, he should come out of retirement.
I had to check in on somebody because we're talking about the Marlins. We don't really talk about the Marlins. I just put him into Twitter.
Marlins man,
who I guess had lost his Twitter account because this is definitely a new one.
And also called Jeter a virgin at one point. Did you know that? Marlins man and Jeter have beef. And Marlins man, who we know, we have a long and storied history with Marlins man, is one of the world's biggest cheddar dicks. Literally said the only criticism of Derek Jeter that you can't make.
I would argue Marlins man, yeah, he's like one of the biggest cheddar dicks in sports. I got to read his bio though. His bio is classic Marlins man. His bio says first responders, military, teachers, and healthcare workers are our real heroes. September 11th, make September 11th First Responders Day. Hashtag arrive strangers, depart followers. Hashtag pay it forward. Okay. He tweeted, I got the Marlins man tweet. He tweeted, I am very sad Jeter is gone. Jeter wasn't Moses. Jeter didn't deliver from bondage, the oppressed Marlins fan to the promised land. We wanted Jeter to succeed. A rookie/virgin CEO with no education, training, nor experience was formula for failure. RIP Jeter's Marlins. Yeah, definitely taking some digs there. Marlins man.
I mean, Marlins man, at least he's right though. Like that is actually, let's give Marlins man credit where credit's due. I mean, he's wearing an upside down visor, but I guess, everybody gets it right once in a while. Derek Jeter didn't have any experience doing anything.
Yeah.
They should make Marlins man the next CEO.
Maybe he'll actually attend Marlins games then.
Yeah.
Although I haven't seen him.
He had a beef with the Marlins or no,
but I'm saying I haven't seen him at, he would go to all the big sporting events.
Yeah. Well, he would go to all the big baseball games for sure. Right.
Yeah.
And I think he had some sort of MLB beef. Like they like, it's ridiculous. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was like something like, they let other people wear Marlins visors or something like that. Like stop people from stepping on my brand. And they're like, dude, what are you talking about?
Shut up.
I swear to God, his beef with baseball was like other people are Marlins fans.
By the way, that's the status of baseball right now.
Yeah.
Like baseball is so bad. Their beefs are with Marlins, man. A guy who wears a Marlins jersey and an upside down backwards visor to World Series and playoff games. Like that's where baseball, like all the other sports can get a good beef or like a good drama with celebrities or whatever, or somebody who's important. Like that's Major League Baseball in a nutshell. That's a microcosm of the sport right now.
The Super Bowl's in LA and they're like, here's Leonardo DiCaprio in one of the owners' boxes. Baseball's on and people are like, where's Marlins man? And they're like, well, he's in a beef. So instead, sitting in his seats are the 2 stars of 911 on Fox. And you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah. That's literally
I was wondering where Angela Bassett had been.
Well, see you later, Jeets. But here's the thing,
Jeets.
Bye, Jeets. here's the thing, Derek Jeter. I got something that might help you out, Jeter, because I know he was making about $5 million a year. So if you want to continue making money, I'm sure you have a lot of memorabilia that you like to sell, Derek Jeter, because Yankees fans are the number one. Like he's the guy, right? He's the diehard Yankees guy who they just slurp. So I'm sure Yankees fans would love some of his memorabilia. I think you should ship it through ShipStation. I just think this makes it easy for you, Jeets. ShipStation is already trusted by over 100,000
Wow,
e-commerce.
that's 10 times more than 10,000.
Yeah, 100,000 e-commerce sellers. It keeps track of orders from any sales channel, easily finding the best shipping carrier with deeply discounted rates, and you can automate just about any shipping task with just a few clicks. Come on, Andy. ShipStation's great. You know, I've used it. I've used it to ship koozies. I've used it to ship some merch. If you guys really want to upgrade your game as far as shipping, and it'll help you save time, save money, save your sanity, go use ShipStation. It can manage every order, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or your own website from anywhere, even your phone. So ship more in less time with ShipStation. Use our offer code DIRTY to get a 60-day free trial. That's 2 free months of no hassle, stress-free shipping. Just go to shipstation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and type in DIRTY. ShipStation, make ship happen. Man, that was a struggle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm fighting
you almost lost your ship there.
Very funny of you, Joe. That's very funny. All right. Is there an update now? It looks like there's no updates. I don't know. You know, I'll keep checking it out as far as anything going on in the news with baseball. But you know, it's sad. It's because here's the thing, man. For a guy like me who goes to a lot of games, and they are cheap here, I will say, it's like a fun thing to do.
Bro, you know, I literally like that's what baseball doesn't understand is like there are people out there like me who I plan my goddamn actual career around going to cities when my baseball team is in town.
Yeah, well, it's like,
and they're like, fuck off.
Well, here's what they don't realize. It's like, so I hung out with, you remember Game Theory Picks? Our friends at Game Theory Picks?
Yeah.
So Blake from Game Theory Picks, who started the company, dude, he moved to Cincinnati. I don't know, what are the odds? So I hung out with him.
Rip Blake.
Yeah. So he was right down the street from Venice for us. And he's in downtown Cincinnati now. He now works, and I don't think he'll care me saying this. He's in the sports memorabilia world. And he works full-time in that world. And he's got his own business, and he also works for somebody. But that's what he was saying. And he just moved to downtown last month, and he was like, look, man, I can walk to the Red Stadium. You know, it looks like a cool stadium. Same thing. He's like, dude, I was going to go to a bunch of games. My girlfriend's moving here. Like, there's a whole thing. Like, and now there's just no. But like,
and like, even that, like, even like I was talking about, is like, I can't even make, like, there are people who want to plan to go see, you know, I want to come to when the Mets play the Reds in Cincinnati. Yeah. Come hang out with my co-host. Sure. It's supposed to be like July 4th weekend or right around there. But will it be then? Are they even playing the Reds on the road this year? Is there a season? Dude, baseball, if the Mets weren't supposed to be good, like if the Mets were where my Giants are right now and baseball was on strike, they might lose me forever.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's just
watching Jacob deGrom pitch wasn't my heroin, I would not be a baseball fan. I would not be a Major League Baseball fan anymore.
The Mets, I'm looking. The Mets are supposed to be in Cincinnati. Wow, July 4th, 5th, and 6th. So holiday. And that was the thing I had already discussed with my friends as well. The Reds are playing the NL East. So we had already talked, like, I haven't been to a lot of stadiums. Just like you're saying, we're like, oh, that'd be a fun little road trip. You know, catch the Reds in New York or Boston, you know, catch some of those stadiums I've never been to. But that's what baseball doesn't realize. Like you got to hold on to like the guys like us who we're going to go see games. I'm going to plan trips. Oh, I'm going to go to Milwaukee. I'll go to Lake Michigan for a day or two. Then I'll catch a Reds game, or I'll go to Chicago, or whatever it is. I'll visit my friends in St. Louis. That's what they don't realize. Like I can plan trips with a ball game in between.
They don't care.
Well, it's their loss because that's just how, like you said, that's how they lose people. You know, at the end of the day, you're not going to retain fans that way. And that's on them. Speaking of fans, Joe Praino, I got to bring this up.
Okay.
The fans in your current city, my former city, were booing the hometown Lakers last night at the beatdown that they took from the Pelicans. Booing. And I guess there was a little jawing back and forth with LeBron and Westbrook with some of the hometown fans. It's to that level now. The Lakers have lost 14 of 20. They were awful yesterday. I also watched the Friday game with the Clippers that went back and forth that they lost. You know, a Clippers team without Paul George, without Kawhi Leonard. You know, a Pelicans team that rolls into town without Zion Williamson. Like they're losing to teams I would argue you should beat.
Yeah, but the whole team is built around LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and aging LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They don't have Anthony Davis. The Carmelo, Russell Westbrook moves were egregiously stupid when they were made. And then you've got young guys. It's like they should beat. Like, what does that even mean at this point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also here, my only problem with it, I don't have a problem with fans booing teams, but dude, you won a title 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, but the Lakers fans, they're going to set the bar high. They want to win. I just think, I don't think nobody saw how bad this season was going to play out.
I just think they didn't get their free tacos.
Yeah. I do think, I will say, I do think LeBron does try to have it both ways as far as like, dude, you want the Melos and the Westbrooks. And then you play dumb when asked and you say, I'm not the GM. Like, dude, you can't do that.
Right.
But like so when asked, this is what he said recently. I don't press any buttons. That's what our front office is for. It's like, you know, come on, LeBron. Like I don't think that's fair.
I mean, obviously he doesn't make the call, but like they give him a say, and he's always had a say in the last however many years. And we've seen it. We've seen LeBron. Like if there is a flaw in LeBron's legacy, it's that LeBron says, instead of saying to his GM, I need a 3-and-D wing, he says, I want Melo.
Yeah.
And Melo's goddamn trash.
Sure. So obviously they got to blow up this situation as well next year. I don't think they'll make the playoffs.
Well, certainly not looking good.
No.
I mean, the Lakers are, it still is a LeBron, Anthony Davis. Like that's the whole thing. So, you know, if you make the playoffs, which isn't looking likely right now, but if they do, like, I still don't count them out.
Oh, come on, man.
If both, I'm saying in any given series, if both those guys are healthy, like I don't count. I'm not just like, there's no chance this Lakers team beats whoever they get matched up against. It's like, because there is a chance both those guys could go off from a talent standpoint, but they have to make the playoffs. And then of course, Anthony Davis would have to come back and be healthy. And then of course, LeBron James would have to be healthy / not tired enough from getting them into the playoffs without Anthony Davis.
Yeah. I assume you don't see too many Lakers flags on people's cars right now.
No, not a lot of Lakers flags flying these days.
No.
It's almost like they're fair weather fans out here.
I'd say 18 months ago, there was probably a fair amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember 18 months ago, I was still there. Yeah. When they won that title, which is crazy to think. It was only 18 months ago.
Yeah.
There were some fun games, though, on, man, this week that I watched.
I'm happy to have you back, Andy. You had to pick up the slack while I was in San Luis Obispo. You're like, I got this. Watch a bunch of NBA games.
Well, I like the Sixers, man. I've watched them a couple times now. I think they're gonna be a tough out. Now it's funny. The Nets won. The Nets beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee. And I feel like I was watching the pregame show before yesterday's games, and I felt like it was an overreaction. They're all saying, oh, dude, with a healthy Kevin Durant, I think they're the team to beat still. People are saying that, which is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, I think there's a lot at play with a Nets team, including Kyrie, not Kyrie. Ben Simmons is missing games now with a back issue. So, like, simply saying a healthy Kevin Durant and whoever, to me, isn't the favorite to win the NBA championship.
Or I think, these guys were saying make it out of the East.
Yeah.
The West is obviously pretty top heavy.
Yeah.
A lot of good teams. But yeah, I think it's shaping up kind of like last year. I mean, last year was really interesting, right? Like, and I thought it played out for a fun playoffs. And I think we're going to be headed towards that again this year, where very much like the NFL, where there's a lot of parity and there's a lot of good players and a lot of good teams, and anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. One of those guys I saw talking about that yesterday was your boy, Stephen A. Smith. He was talking about
anything is possible.
No, he's talking about Brooklyn, being a favorite if the healthy Kevin Durant. But I saw him going off today, and it made me chuckle a little. Stephen A. was going off about Hue Jackson, who is now the head football coach at historically black college Grambling State. Hue Jackson has hired former Baylor head coach Art Briles, who, as a reminder, was fired in 2016 because of a campus-wide sexual assault allegations, where it was sexual assault and rape and all these awful things was running rampant under his watch while he elevated the program and they became really good. He just turned a blind eye. So Hue Jackson, as we know, the famous Browns head coach, who I believe won 2 games, has hired Briles as the offensive coordinator. Not a good look.
No, not a good look. And here's the thing. I'm not necessarily sitting here being like, Art Briles should be,
banished forever,
electrocuted. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, why? Like, it just seems like a dumb decision. It just seems like you don't need to do this.
Yeah. So
you're a famously inept football coach.
That's what I'm saying. Like you got a history of it.
Yeah.
So people are coming out against it, including Super Bowl MVP and former Grambling State player Doug Williams. This is what Stephen A. was going crazy. This is what Stephen A. had to say on I don't know, one of those stupid ESPN programs. I don't watch them, but this one I was like, man,
hot take.
Yeah, this is what Stephen A. had to say.
First trash, something like that.
Yeah. You're not hearing it?
I'm not hearing it.
Let me see if I did something wrong. Let me try. I had messed with something before the show.
I don't know if anybody else was hearing it.
Let's try this. You hear it now?
Nope.
Damn it. Okay.
What was the gist of what Stephen A. Smith was saying?
He was worked up. He was worked. I mean, he just was going off about he wanted to talk to Hue Jackson himself. Like he was saying, like call me, text me. Like he was like, we got to set this straight. Like you can't be hiring Art Briles. And
I think I see what went wrong. Hue Jackson, what are you doing? Hue, listen to me, Hue. Listen to me, you. Get you a cell phone. Get you a Cricket Wireless. Get you a beeper. Get you a pager. Get you one of them old Nextel walkie-talkies. And get me on the horn. Because this is ridiculous. You bringing in Art Briles? What's the matter? The girl, Urban Meyer, whose butthole got fingered, was not available to be a head coach, assistant coach on your staff? I mean, what is you doing? This is what, I mean, I know it's a historically black college. Why you gotta make a scene for us? This is ridiculous. You couldn't go out there and find, like Bill Parcells' nephew or something. We had to go with the guy in charge of the rape scandal. I mean, this Hue. Use a smoke machine. You send out a carrier pigeon. But get in touch with me.
You know, I think actually, let me try this. Let me see if this works now. I think I might have had something wrong. Let me see. Can you hear this? Can you not hear it still?
No.
Hold on. Let me. God damn it. Let me try one more time. I mean, Stephen A's on hold. We're gonna have him on hold. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Let's try this. Please tell me you can hear it.
This is not about Hue Jackson as a coach. This is not about.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
You can.
I can.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna have Stephen at hold. This way you can get the full gist.
Hue Jackson is a human being. This is not bringing into question anything he said about Haslam with the Browns or anybody else. This is specifically regarding Art Briles. And yes, I will call Hue Jackson because guess what? I find this decision to be egregious. Period. It is a better decision you could have made for offensive coordinator for Grambling State than this one. Doug Williams says it. Most people in the media, Keyshawn was talking about it this morning. Most people are going to say that. That's how we feel. This is about the hire. Let's not conflate things. Let's not confuse the issues. Let's not try to be evasive. You hired a man that oversaw a program rife with sexual assault perpetrators. The law has stated that. We've got people who are in prison because of it. As a result, nobody touched this man for 6 years for a reason. And if he's going to land someplace, it shouldn't be at an historically black college and universities when you had a lot of the players at Baylor, if not all of them, who were being accused of it, who happened to be black. Clearly, him being a leader of young black men is highly questionable. That's who you hired, Hue Jackson. There's no way around that. So whether it's you or somebody else that are texting me with your stuff, I will happily call you. Hell, if you want me to, I'll fly down and visit you and say it to your damn face. It's a ridiculous hire.
Yeah.
That's
okay. Well, there you have it.
Well, Stephen A is apparently here because he feels like he didn't get it out enough on Hot Smash or whatever that show's called.
Yeah.
So let's get Stephen. I told you all that this decision was egregious, atrocious, deplorable, flagrant, glaring, heinous, intolerable, nefarious, scandalous, and shocking. This is the most egregious decision of all time. You just going to be Hue Jackson, Mr. I ain't ever won no games, never. And then you going to have Mr. Coach Rapey Face? You're just going to have young black men at a historically black college being like, yo, Coach Rape, what drills we running today? It is scandalous. It's heinous. and I won't stand for it. I've bought a one-way ticket to Grambling International Airport. I expected to be greeted by Hue Jackson at the airport with a sign that says Stephen A. Smith of Hot Smash. Welcome to Grambling University. Let's talk about it. Now, I don't know what he's expecting to happen in that conversation other than for me to say, you need to fire Coach Ray. But I'm willing to do it. Thank you for your time and energy, Andy Ruther and Joe Praino.
By the way, I absolutely love the name of that show, Hot Smash. I do love that Stephen A. So he was going to fly down there personally. And you're like, what's the end game? I was going to look him in the eye and say, you should have hired this guy. And he was going to look at me and say, well, he's been hired and I'm keeping him. Get back on your flight and head back to New York to do Hot Smash. I would love to see Stephen A. on these shows end. I'd love to see Stephen A. Like, I think Stephen A. just is like a quiet dude. Like, again, I always wonder on these shows, like on a scale of 0 to 100%, like what percent is theater and acting? I think it's pretty high.
Do you think Stephen A. Smith is doing this like while he's out to dinner at night? Or do you think he's like out with his wife? He's like, actually, everything is great tonight.
You know what it? Yeah, you know what it is.
Chicken piccata is delicious.
It's Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle's Little John.
Yeah.
Remember when he would suddenly get quiet in the Dave Chappelle Little John sketches? That's literally what I think it is. And the best part is like he's wearing like a historically black college university jacket in it. Like the whole thing is like a setup.
He's wearing just a jacket with the entire Western Conference on it.
A Tweety Bird, the Tasmanian Devil.
He's wearing a black varsity style jacket, and on one of the leather sleeves it's just all the teams in the NBA's Western Conference, including the Western Conference patch, and on the right sleeve it's all the different Looney Tunes characters. You're like, what is this jacket?
He said he would fly down there. He said he was going to call him. He's going to text him. And you made the best point. Like Hue Jackson's decision making. Are we surprised? But like you said, I'm not for it. This doesn't like reprieve Art Briles from all the awful shit that he allowed to happen. But it's also like, okay, well.
Also, I mean, flying under the radar here. Also, maybe this was his plan.
Well, he's been working at a high school the last like 5 or 6 years. Right.
But I'm saying flying under the radar, maybe the Briles hire is getting all the attention. Hue Jackson also hired Tim Tebow to be the quarterback's coach. So that's interesting. It's an interesting move. Yeah.
Not good publicity. Well, good luck down there. Hue Jackson has a great track record of winning, I believe, 2 or 3 games. Let's get to a quick call, and we'll keep this a little shorter today. 310-359-8365. We had talked about Ken Griffey Jr. last episode, which spurred another call about him.
Okay, wow.
Junior getting some love.
Hey, fellas. This is Clayton, your number 1 Northern Idaho dirtball. I heard you guys talking about Ken Griffey Jr. a little bit, and I just want to I guess I have 2 questions, or maybe they're more statements. So he kind of was the shit for a while, right? And then by all accounts, he was just a freak athlete. He never wanted to work out. So do you think he could have been, more like an A-Rod type of player or a Pujols if he had been more committed to working out and things like that? And then also, he never did steroids. So if he had done steroids and worked out, just kind of imagine the player he could have been. So I'm curious on your thoughts on that. Condoms are for Greg Jennings, who is only relevant because he goes on to Fox Sports and slanders Aaron Rodgers. Peace.
Shots fired. So
to be fair, before we get to Griffey, Greg Jennings is also relevant for putting the team on his back, though.
What a great fucking video.
I mean, he broke his fucking leg.
What a great clip.
I mean, he met right at the goal line, dude. He met Darren Sharp, one of the most hardest hitting safeties in the league.
That'll never get old.
Greg Jennings.
I have a firsthand account.
Fuck you, Gumby.
Do you want me to play it? do you want me to play it? Do you want me to play it?
It's the best. It's one of my favorite videos of all time.
I mean, we have we've definitely played it before. Let's play it again. Let's play it again.
Fuck you, Gumby.
One of the hardest niggas in Madden. I have one of the most best offense in Madden history. Look at this shit. Look at that nigga. Greg Jennings caught that shit. This is right, last play of the game. A dog, earlier though, the nigga broke his fucking leg. How is he running with a broken leg? Look at this nigga holding this shit though. Dog, he put the team on his back. Dog, let's go inside the mind of a Greg Jennings. Dog, I gotta do this shit. I put a team on my fucking
now
back,
he's
though.
speaking
My
as
leg,
Greg
bro.
Jennings.
I don't know how the fuck I'm running right now, though. I'll do this shit for Madden. Oh shit, Darren Sharper, one of the most hardest hitting safeties in the league. But I put the team on my back, dude. Fuck it. You can't stop me. Cross the plane. Touchdown. Greg Jennings. 49-20, man. Fuck with me. Fuck you, Gumby.
Oh wait, that has almost 17 million views on YouTube. It should have more.
So good.
So good. So I actually have a firsthand account of Griffey on that stuff. I have a source. The guy who used to do the weight training and athletic training at my high school, like moved through the ranks of Major League Baseball pretty quickly. Like he was young. He started in my high school. Then he like was on the Indians at the time. Then anyway, he became the Reds head trainer. And I actually ran into him a few times out. And that was his knock on Junior when the injury started. He said, this guy doesn't work out. And he didn't give the full blame on the injuries, but he's on the working out. But he goes, Junior has so much talent, as we all know, but he's not the offseason guy. He's not the weight room, the stretching, and you know, that's what I was told firsthand within the Reds organization.
Well, you know, Junior, obviously, like incredible natural talent, incredible swing. So like such a lean guy. I mean, he was so like he floated in the outfield. And, you know, I think that there's some aspects of early Ken Griffey Jr. that probably like didn't require it, or maybe in some way could have hindered him. But I mean, you know, when you smash your wrist on the wall, making like the world's greatest catch, it's like, there's nothing, you know, stretching is not going to help that. But a bad back, you got a bad back, dude. Well, yeah, maybe at some point in your career,
multiple leg, you know, like. So,
I mean, you know, I have heard that as well. And for you to confirm that, and obviously, you know, steroid, like I kind of want to just like leave the steroids thing out of it, because the thing with steroids is you still got to do the work. It just helps you recover. It helps you do the workout. It helps you do all this stuff. But like the performance enhancing drugs, you still got to do the work. It sounds like Ken Griffey Jr. didn't take anything because he didn't want to do the work anyway. So let's just leave the steroids factor out of it. And, you know, we love to play the game what would have been, and he is definitely on starting all-time athlete what would have been team. But like, I think, you know, with this kind of confirmation, maybe that question is what would have been if he did care more. And
look, let's not forget, guys, he's 7th all-time in home runs. He has 630 home runs.
Right.
Like the only people ahead of him are Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, A-Rod, Pujols, and Willie Mays. Like, it's not like he didn't finished with 630 home runs.
But I mean, right, that's why it's the what would have been. Would he have been? Well, he would have been the all-time leader.
Well, he was on. I know he was way ahead of the pace at 100, 200, 300, 400, even like 450. Like he was ahead of the all-time pace. No, you're right. He definitely is. I would say like numero uno on the what would have been. Like when I think of what would have been, it's him and like Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
On what they could have possibly accomplished. But like Northern Idaho dirtball with the call.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. 310-359-8365. That's a hotline. Drop us a call, comment, question. Would love to hear from any Kirk Cousins fans. I have a feeling we won't get any pro Kirk Cousins calls, though. I have a feeling that from my viewpoint, it's a lot on Twitter or comments. I don't think people are going to willingly put their voice on that call. That's a statement.
I mean, we've had him in the past, but
okay.
You know, I mean, we've had him in the past, but maybe, you know, everybody's come around.
Sure.
I mean, your friend Matt Padodia, he's probably not on the train anymore since having to pay me for them missing the playoffs last year. So, like,
no, you guys had a bet, huh?
Yeah, I think it was 2 seasons ago. I think it was after. Oh, it was after the playoff win season. He bet me, I think it was $100 that they would appear in the NFC Championship game. And I said, I will pay you $100 if they appear in the NFC Championship game, only if you agree to give me $200 if they don't even make the playoffs.
Wow.
Money in the bank.
Fuck Gumby.
Fuck you, Gumby. Fuck you, Grandpa. But I love Padotes. He comes out to shows still. He loves to come out when I'm at shows in Escondido, where I'll be on Friday of this week.
Good plug.
The Grand Comedy Club, doing a little opening set. I believe Dean Del Rey may be headlining, but I'm going to go down there and see our friend Pete Sestaro and do a spot at Grand Comedy Club while I'm there.
Noise.
Other shows, got shows around Southern California. Got a show in Culver City, I believe, on Saturday. And you guys could just go to joepraino.com and look at all the other shows we've got coming up, which will just be pretty much local until Colorado in April, which will be Steamboat, Vail, and Denver. So you can follow me on all social media at Joe Praino, except for Twitter, where I'm still fixing Kirk Cousins defenders' lives.
You can follow us at The Dirty Sports on all social media. And I'm at Andy Ruther on social media when I peruse the media. Koozies, if you leave a podcast review, had a funny exchange with the Dirtball recently. He left a Spotify review, sent me a screenshot, and it was classic Dirtball. I'm not going to say your name. You know who you are. Actually, you know what? I am going to say his name because it's funny. It was the other Tyler, fake Tyler from Arizona. Wanted some koozies. He left a very nice message to me, and then he left his address. And I just wrote back, thanks for the support, Tyler. I'll need your full name and also a full address. I still need the city, state, and zip code. So he gave me the street address with his apartment number. Didn't give me the city, state, or zip code.
Also, I guess you'll just have to Google what a zip code is.
Yeah. If I said to you, Joe, what percentage of dirt balls, 25, should we say 25 and under or 22 and under, know their zip code? 22 and under, know their zip code. I still
got to think it's high, but like, I still got to think it's like 90%, but 10% is an egregious number tonight. I knew my zip code when I was 5.
I will say, Mata, speaking of not knowing zip codes, Mata posted something funny on the Reddit of a great Ruther curse callback of AJ Green. A thing that he had made where I was like, dude, AJ Green's become the first receiver in NFL history to have, I think it was 6 or 7 straight seasons of 1,000 yards. Nobody had ever done that. And then he shredded his knee with
has not played since that day.
Yeah, he shredded his knee with like 17 yards to go in that season to get 1,000 yards. And you're on it. And the best part about it, which I listened to it, like, because he plays me saying on the show, and then he plays the call from the game. The best part is, who does the call for the game? Tom Brenneman was working for Fox to call the game. So like, it's pretty funny. It's why don't I, it's like 40 seconds. I'll just play it real quick. This was the Ruther curse. This is an old Beverly Dillon Mata made it.
Green, I got to give him credit, man. This week he's going to, barring injury. Beverly Mata made it.
Don't look now, but Green is down on the field and has not gotten back up.
Oh, no.
In shock right now that A.J. Green is having to leave on a golf cart.
It's lit.
Drive deep into his left knee by Castellanos.
Unbelievable. All right, guys. It's been fun. That is the show. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys on Thursday. And as always, stay dirty.